Joining us now on the Same Old Stripes podcast, he is a 4-time Pro Bowler, a 2022 Super Bowl champion, a franchise left tackle, and not to mention the just signed the highest signing bonus in tackle history in the NFL, Orlando Brown Jr. You're on the Same Old Stripes podcast. Thanks so much for joining us, man. How are you tonight? How's life for you right now? I'm sure things are pretty sweet.
Oh, man, they're awesome, man. I appreciate you guys having me on.
Yeah, man. So I wanted to kind of jump right into things with the franchise left tackle thing because I just think it's been really cool, kind of your mission and kind of how you view that position. Obviously, it's kind of been your mission to carry out your father's legacy, and he was a right tackle, so he wanted you to play left tackle. When you sign that here comes my dog down the stairs. Gee whiz, Birdie. When you finally sign that contract, how excited are you to be able to call yourself a franchise left tackle for a team, especially a team that's going to be competing for Super Bowls and all that kind of stuff over the term of your contract?
Yeah, man, I'm excited, man. It's a goal I've always set for myself as a young child when I first started playing the game, and to have an opportunity to be able to go out there and be the starting left tackle for a franchise, man, especially here in Cincinnati. I mean, it's truly special. And, it was something that I've always talked about with my family, my dad, my mentor, Jamal, man. I mean, it's what I dreamed of. And the Cincinnati Bengals believe in me, and they've given me the opportunity. And, man, I couldn't be more blessed and more thankful.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great way to answer. I mean, blessed, thankful. That seems to come across in everything you've been saying about all this. It's been really cool to see. Yeah. Speaking of honoring your father's legacy, you're going to wear number 75 in Cincinnati, reverse 57. Still kind of honors your dad. But speaking of jerseys, the reason we got connected is because someone on this podcast decided to go on fanatics.com, drop $170 on what is a very good-looking jersey, mind you. It says Brown, it says 57 or 75, excuse me. The big omission is the junior. So my question to you is this the first time you've ever seen someone just totally get an Orlando Brown Jr. jersey wrong?
No, man. It's funny you say that. So, Coach Reed had his rule, and I believe Coach Marvin Lewis had a rule as well, where there was no juniors or thirds on the back of the jersey. So it's just one of those things in Kansas City. That was just Coach Reed's rule. So I never had it on the back of my jersey there. I did in Baltimore, but in college as well. But man, I mean, hey, I was just messing with you. I didn't mean was by it.
No, I thought it was hilarious. It's honestly, it's so funny to me. The things that happen in life to me sometimes just ridiculous. T.O. and Billy are also on this podcast. They're awfully quiet so far. T.O., what's going on? What do you have to ask Orlando? I'm sure you got stuff on your mind.
Yeah, so that must be the reason you left Kansas City, right? No junior on the back. He said, "Yeah, I gotta get out of there."
That's it. No.
Oh man, that's funny.
I'm playing. But I do want to kind of ask you a little bit about Kansas City, man. With this Bengal rivalry with the Chiefs, it's kind of gone up in the last 2 years. I know from our end, we like despise playing the Chiefs. Even us watching them, we're like, this is gonna be a dogfight. It sucks. It's coming down to the end. What was it like for you guys on the other side, when you were with Kansas City?
Yeah, man, I would say the same thing. I would say the same thing when I played at Baltimore, too. You know what I mean? It's somewhat become a rivalry. Obviously, AFC North Division games are all rivalries. But, being here in KC, man, just the circumstances that each game brought, normally playoff seeding, AFC Championship, Super Bowl, you know what I mean? It's games that have really big deciding factors on the outcome of seasons. And so, obviously when you're going against these type of opponents in these games and, being on the side of it where they beat us 3 times in a row was really difficult to kind of like wrap our heads around and understand. But, the Cincinnati Bengals from afar as an opponent, man, I saw a very well prepared, a very well coached, a fresh group of guys, man, that really had a ton of will and a ton of want to go out there and win. And, man, I mean, they were able to do it against us 3 times in a row.
Always forget to unmute. 3 times in a row. Yeah, we're not going to forget it. Let's start a new one. Yeah, I'm still a little bitter over the last one. I'm not going to lie. The 3-1 thing, the one is definitely the one I think about the most.
Yeah.
You do mention 3 times in a row. Yeah. I mean, it's a heck of a rivalry. I'm excited to watch you on this side of it, to be completely honest. I'm very excited about that. Billy, I'm sure you're excited about Orlando Brown being our franchise left tackle too. What kind of questions you got, man? You've been quiet as well.
Definitely, man. Orlando, thanks so much for hopping on with us. I'll tell you a quick story about the night you signed. T.O. sent a text out. And my wife last year, she got me a Bengals champagne set. And I promised her, I was like, we won't open it till we win the Super Bowl. Obviously, you had different plans.
I love it.
But when I got that text, man, I drank the whole damn bottle, man. I had a night, man. And I think kind of leans into my question, Rebecca and myself, and I came a little late, but I'm from New York. I met these guys through Twitter, and I was actually able to come down with my first Bengal game ever in Cincinnati, Willie, this year. So this ride of our pod has been awesome. We kind of luckily started Bengal pod in 2021, where a lot of good things are happening with the Cincinnati Bengals, obviously. But, my dad's been a fan since '68, and we even talked about it. I think the biggest thing with you coming here and you as a player is just your versatility, man. Your ability to have a Pro Bowl season at right tackle and left tackle, I think, is just something that can't get overlooked. And my question to you, I think, is, I know you talked about a little bit before we got on about like your mentorship, but what can you bring to this line and to this room of just your experiences and just kind of, honing in some of that leadership skills to some of our younger guys on the line as well?
Yeah, no, man. On the set, dog, we got to get you a new set hopefully here soon.
Yeah, but, Billy, what's going on today?
Yeah, for real, man.
Junior in the house, and you're up against the door or something.
we win that Super Bowl, man. I'm gonna get you right. But man, what I'm bringing to the room is just a guy that's a leader, man. As you said, that's been able to. I've been battle tested throughout my life, throughout my football career on a professional level, especially. And you're getting a guy that's a leader. Obviously it's understood, man, that, Teddy K, man, how he's been, how great he's been on the field, how awesome he's been in the community and in the locker room. I feel as though he's a leader as well. Man, I got a ton of respect for him. And just, I feel like I'm bringing that feeling, that energy, that positive energy, that veteran, like leadership, man, that's going to allow guys to be able to be comfortable talking to me. It's something I've always done. I did it in Kansas City. I did it in Baltimore in college. It's just how I was raised. I'm the oldest of 5. And, man, that's just the type of mindset that I'm bringing. But I just, I hope to bring in positive light to the room. I feel like this is a group that hasn't necessarily got a ton of credit or a ton of love, although they've been in these AFC championships back-to-back years. And I know the sack numbers and hits are high and all of those different things. But, man, I look forward to coming in and really just going to work with these guys every single day, from the guys that I've spoke to up front, talking to Coach Pollard, offensive line coach. It just seems like everyone is very hardworking, super humble, loves the game of football. And, I would describe myself the same way. So, man, just coming in there, I'm looking forward to getting to know all of these guys as men first. And, you build that camaraderie as an offensive line off the field. And, man, that's kind of what I'm looking forward to the most. And then from there, things will transpire in the training camp and mini camp. So I look forward to it, though.
Yeah, man. A guy we haven't talked about yet somehow, but kind of goes into that formula you talked about and really actually kind of fits the traits of all the offensive linemen, the hardworking, loves football, all that great stuff.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about this initial meeting with Joe Burrow. And the reason I'm so fascinated by it is honestly more to do with the cheeseburgers. So first of all, I would love to know kind of what you guys talked about in that conversation. But second of all, I got to know the details on the cheeseburgers. Where are they from? What are we ordering? This is a podcast that is not afraid of the food. So I love the details on the cheeseburgers if you would mind sharing.
Oh, man, no, it was super simple, man. Just some Shake Shack burgers and some fries, bro. It wasn't even anything crazy. I didn't try anything local. I just played it safe. But man, we talked a lot about the city. First and foremost, man, just how awesome Cincinnati is, how great the fans are, how cool it is to play there, all those different things. We also talked a lot of ball, man. We spoke for about 2 hours talking ball, talking about the system, the guys, the offensive line, kind of the fluidity of everything, because for me, I've been on the outside looking in, you know what I mean, as a player on an opposing team that's somewhat a rival in these big games. So I know how good they are. And I also understand after winning the Super Bowl what it takes to even be able to compete at that high of a level consistently. And, man, Coach Taylor showed that. The way the organization is built top to bottom, starting with Mr. Brown, shows that, man. And we kind of hit on and spoke about all those different things.
Sounds like a pretty lengthy conversation with a lot of details that Joe Burrow just seems like he gives all you guys a good head start. It seems like the minute you talk football with him, he just has a lot to say.
He's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Bro. He's great. He's great.
Yeah. Speaking of current teammates and former teammates, I did want to ask you about teaming up with Cody Ford. Not a guy that you probably met in a hotel with for cheeseburgers right before you signed with the Bengals. He's a guy you obviously had a relationship dating back to Oklahoma. With Coach Bedenbaugh, obviously, heck of an offensive line machine down there. Just seems to have a real flavor for developing offensive linemen that become pretty damn good pros. So I'm just kind of curious, what's your relationship with Cody, and how excited are you to reunite with him in Cincinnati now?
Yeah, man, Cody's one of my best friends. I was 19 when he came into school. He was 18. Turning 19, man. I mean, we've been close for years and spent a lot of time together growing up. Pretty much, you could say, in this football stuff since college, and somebody I've continued to keep close to me in my life. We bought houses in Norman after my rookie year and his rookie year, so we trained in Norman together like our first 2 or 3 years in the league. But man, I mean, Cody is an amazing football talent, which is one of the reasons. I mean, he's the highest draft pick out of all of us. And man, he really has a keen sense to channel his aggression, and that's something that I feel like he's really going to bring to this team and organization, man. Especially on Sundays, is that winning attitude and mindset. Being somewhat of an enforcer, you could say, man. He's somebody I could rave about for hours, but I think what's most important is he's a guy that understands that he has to put in the work to get what he wants. And, he is disappointed with the way the last few years have gone. But, I mean, man, I think his mindset, his confidence right now, where he is and what the Bengals are going to ask him, I mean, I think he's ready to go.
Right on, man. T.O. and Billy, what I'm hearing is more glass eaters, and I don't think either of us or any of us are going to be bummed about that.
No doubt.
No, absolutely. What we've been wanting for years. So I just want to say, I can't wait for you to feel, I'm sure you already have, but the love you're going to receive from this fan base, man, it's going to be incredible. We've been basically begging for confident, really good offensive linemen for years, and we struck gold with you. We're so excited. Yeah, but what I wanted to ask is, leading up to free agency, I guess you weren't really on like our radar, basically, because we thought you were going to get franchise tagged along with the rest of the league.
Me too.
Really? That's what I was going to ask. How surprised were you to not get franchise tagged, and then how much more surprised were you when the Chiefs moved on to Jawan Taylor? And then what was your deciding factor in eventually signing with the Bengals?
Yeah, no, man, I definitely thought I was getting tagged just because of, I mean, the news that broke on the day of the Super Bowl and post Super Bowl, pretty much all the way up until the tag deadline. So, I was under the influence that I was getting tagged, and so was my agent. But, man, I mean, as far as signing Jawan, I think that's a really good fit for him. I think that, they're bringing in a guy, man, that's a really good athlete, that's going to have the opportunity to display his athleticism as a left tackle in that system. And, I mean, Coach Heck the offensive line coach, is one of the best in the world at what he does. And, man, he'll get the best out of anybody they bring in there. So, man, I think it's a good pickup and good situation for him. Ultimately, man, sometimes, the business is the business. And things like that happen, things like that unfold. I mean, to be honest, I could not have ended up in a better situation. Man, it's an amazing place to be. I'm so looking forward to the opportunity of being able to suit up with these guys on Sundays. Just going against them every single year I've been in the NFL. I mean, man, like being on this side of it and, the trajectory of where everything is heading with 9 back there. I mean, it's special, man. And I don't feel like I'm missing out at all.
On that note, how excited are you not to have to block Trey Hendrickson anymore?
That's funny, man. I got to see his ass every day. So
that's a good point.
I'm looking forward to it, though. He's a tough guy, man. He's a competitor.
He talks a lot, so I'm sure you're excited to be on his side now.
Oh yeah, no doubt, man. Me and him had some battles.
Yeah, one more, Orlando. I think a big question for me. I think in our progression as we've come over the last, I think the big step this year is to get for that 1 seed and home field advantage. We talk about it all the time. You guys experienced it last year, 2 seed getting that AFC championship. You can kind of talk of what that did for you guys in Kansas City and how important really home field is and getting that bye and having to only win 2 playoff games to get to the Super Bowl.
It's so important, man. It's so important. I think it definitely makes things a lot easier with that one less game. What's the challenging part? The challenging part is staying in game shape and making sure your body's ready to go at a completely different level than it was in the regular season. But Coach Reid did an amazing job of making sure every single day, every single week, it was understood the expectation and the standard. And I think being that number 1 seed is so important because it gives the guys, it's that you get the bye week, you know what I mean? You get the opportunity to allow your body to rest on top of being comfortable at home. You know what I mean? Playing a road playoff game is very, very difficult. You know what I mean? And it's very, very hard to win in those situations as compared to playing at home. And man, I've been on both sides of everything. I've never been in an AFC Championship away game. I've only played at home in a situation, but it just makes everything much more comfortable, man. But as far as my understanding, those are the goals that are set in that building is, winning the AFC North, establishing home field advantage in the playoffs, and going to win the Super Bowl.
Right on. I love that answer. Man, let's get that 1 seed. Let's go win a Super Bowl. I feel like it's time, Billy. It feels like it is time.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. I've got 2 more questions for you, if you don't mind.
Oh, yeah, no problem.
Yeah. So the first one has to do kind of with the draft and kind of, the whole process of it all. And I think I know where you think I know where I'm going to start. Obviously, it's not news to you that the combine didn't go spectacularly for you. I think some critics may have called it worst ever. But, I mean, first of all, you've rallied to have one hell of an NFL career. Second of all, you came back in a couple of weeks and had a much better performance at your pro day. So my question to you is kind of 2-parted, but first of all, what did you learn about Orlando Brown during that process? And then the second question is, what would you tell a young prospect who struggles during some of their pre-draft stuff and, has to kind of recover from that because teams do, take that into consideration, and you've learned that yourself.
Oh, definitely, man. I think my combine is something that definitely comes up. It came up somewhat in free agency by people telling me I'm still a right tackle. You know what I mean? That all goes back to the combine and my lack of athleticism, quote unquote, because I've made 2-3 Pro Bowls as a left tackle. I just want to play my best game as a left tackle in the Super Bowl. So, I feel like those things definitely still somewhat haunt me. But it's not anything that I don't want to say I'm proud of, but it's who I am. You know what I mean? I sat down with every team at the combine and they asked me how my 40 was going to be, and I said it was going to be the worst time here. I should have said the worst time ever, but I said it was going to be the worst time here. You know what I mean? They asked me about my vertical. I said it's going to be the worst vertical here. I should have said the worst vertical ever. But I don't really necessarily take that personal. You know what I mean? I've always been that guy I'm not necessarily flashy in the way that I run or move or in the weight room or anything like that. I'm a blue chip guy, man. You give me a helmet and shoulder pads and line King Kong up in front of me, I'm gonna give it everything I got. And God's blessed me with a ton of great tools and assets to play the game of football. And most importantly, man, I'm one of the sharpest guys on the field at all times. And I got a lot of confidence in that because of my study and the way that I study and my approach to the game. But I would just tell young guys, man, as far as the combine goes and things like that, it's definitely, for me personally, it was a dark time because I'm dealing with so much criticism. At the time I was unproven in the NFL. I had been a unanimous All-American in college, but I was unproven in the NFL. And it was a lot of questions around, oh my gosh, can he even jog or keep up with an NFL team? You know what I mean? So, those narratives and things get thrown onto you. But I would just encourage young guys, man, come in humble, come into a locker room humble, come into an organization humble, and put your head down and work. More often than not, man, there's more good vets in this league than there are bad vets. And there is a reason that most of the NFL is made up guys 1 through 3. And, those dudes for me were Marshall Yonda, James Hurst, Ronnie Stanley. Being able to sit back and watch these guys be pros day in and day out really kind of helped me understand what I needed to do as a player and affected my approach to my body, to my playbook, to all of those things, how I carry myself in the building. And, man, I just would encourage any young guy, to be humble and come in, man, with his hard hat on, ready to work.
Man, those are not bad mentors to have by any stretch, by the way. Those are some pretty good guys to have take you under their wing. My last question for you, and it's the question I close with for every player we talk to. What would you like Bengals fans to know about Orlando Brown Jr., the person, not just the player? I mean, I feel like there's a lot that goes into that, but what comes to mind for you?
Yeah, man. You're getting a humble guy. You're getting a humble guy that loves the game of football, that reaps what he sows, that puts in the time, puts in the work. Man, I'm here to win Super Bowls and keep 9 clean. So, yeah, that's how I'm going to put it.
Well, Orlando Brown Jr., you have been a fantastic guest. We are so excited to watch you play left tackle for the Cincinnati Bengals. Cannot wait to see you on the field, man. Thanks for being a guest.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
No doubt, man. I can't wait to get out there with the guys. Appreciate you.
Who day, man.
Damn right, who day.
Damn right.